Let's listen.
My insider's saying that there's strife in the building. Tony wrote about it too today. He must have got the same stuff. But apparently, it's Kev v. Andrew and Jimmy, from what I understand. Kev wants to keep Flacco. Andrew and Jimmy want the processor. The Browns have too many decision makers in football ops. Reaction or overreaction?
It's a reaction.
All day. Like, when are they going to learn?
Yeah, obviously, when we struggle like we did on offense, obviously, Mary Kay, I understand the question, but that's not our focus.
The Cleveland Browns just lived through the kind of nightmare that doesn't fade with the final whistle. Under the bright lights of national television, in front of millions watching at home, and thousands in the stadium, they weren't just beaten by the Detroit Lions. They were dismantled, humiliated, and left staring at a scoreboard that read 34-10. But this wasn't just another ugly loss. No, this was a collapse that shook an entire franchise to its core. Fans didn't wait for the clock to hit zero before their anger erupted. Boos rained down like thunder. Chants of "We want Shedeur" shook the seats. And one haunting image burned itself into memory. The rookie quarterback, helmet at his side, arms crossed, staring helplessly from the bench while the Browns unraveled without him. And that's the story.
Joe Flacco, going into the game, was the lowest qualifying starting quarterback in passer rating in the league.
Yeah.
And I look at 16 for 34, 184 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. He's probably still going to be in that spot today.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where at some point you just wonder, like, wait, if the veteran's going to turn the ball over and make shaky decisions, why not just go with the rookie and see what he got there?
Not the score, not Joe Flacco's mistakes, not Detroit's dominance, but the fact that Cleveland's future, the one player fans believe could save this team, sat idle while everything collapsed around him. National media called it organizational malpractice. Fans online turned Twitter into a battlefield. Hashtags like #FreeShedeur trending by the minute. And behind the scenes, insiders say the Browns' own owner stormed out of the press box, demanding answers. Why draft Shedeur Sanders if you're gonna let him rot on the bench? This isn't just football anymore. It's a credibility crisis. The Browns aren't just losing games. They're losing their locker room, their fan base, and possibly their future. Tonight, we're breaking down how a single decision, sticking with a 40-year-old veteran while the future waits on the bench, has set Cleveland on fire, and why the entire NFL world is now watching every move they make. From the very first drive against the Lions, something felt wrong. Joe Flacco walked onto that field looking less like a starting quarterback and more like a man carrying the weight of every bad decision Cleveland has made over the past 2 decades. His throws floated. His timing lagged. His body language screamed hesitation. And within minutes, it was obvious this wasn't going to be a fight. It was going to be a funeral. The numbers don't lie. 16 completions on 34 attempts, 184 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But numbers only tell half the story. Those 2 interceptions weren't just turnovers. They were daggers. They erased momentum before it even began, ripping the life out of a team already desperate for something to believe in. The Lions didn't have to dominate Cleveland with trick plays or explosive highlight reels. All they had to do was sit back, wait for Flacco to hand them the ball.
Billy Gabriel's going to start, according to my source. Good night, everybody. Chris, it sounds to me like this kid's going to start, and why not? Chris, what the hell? Chris, does it really matter who starts at quarterback with the Browns?
And then watch as the Browns defense, a defense that has carried this team all season, cracked under the exhaustion of doing everything alone. And while the veteran crumbled, the camera kept cutting to the same image that will haunt fans for years. Shedeur Sanders, the rookie with the cannon arm and the poise of a leader, sitting on the bench, helmet at his side, eyes fixed on the chaos, powerless to stop it. Fans noticed, social media noticed, and the chants inside Ford Field grew louder with every wasted drive. We want Shedeur. By the second half, even the commentators couldn't ignore it. They weren't asking if the Browns were going to lose. They were asking why their most promising quarterback never touched the field. And that's what made the loss sting more than the scoreboard. It wasn't just a collapse. It was a refusal to even try. The final whistle hadn't even finished echoing through Ford Field before the knives came out. National analysts, local reporters, podcasters. Everyone with a platform had the Browns in their crosshairs. And for once, nobody was sugarcoating it. On ESPN, one voice thundered, "This isn't just losing football games. This is sabotaging your own franchise in real time." On NFL Network, the criticism cut even deeper. Kevin Stefanski is coaching like a man terrified of his own shadow, an analyst spat. You've got a dynamic rookie quarterback with everything you need to build the future. And instead you're throwing Joe Flacco out there like it's still 2012. That's not conservative coaching. That's coaching suicide. And it didn't stop there. Local reporters, usually cautious and protective of the home team, sounded just as fed up. One Cleveland columnist wrote, "The Browns didn't just look bad against Detroit. They looked like they didn't belong in the same league. And the only reason is sitting on the bench while this franchise dies in slow motion." Meanwhile, the internet was already on fire. Twitter, Reddit, fan forums, every corner of the digital world erupted with frustration. Within minutes, hashtag #FireStefanski and Free Shedeur surged to the top of trending topics. Clips of Sanders on the sideline staring blankly at the chaos went viral. One video racked up over 2 million views overnight, captioned simply, "The future is right there," and they refused to use him. The reactions weren't just angry, they were heartbroken. One viral post put the contrast in brutal terms. Shedeur Sanders, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions at Colorado. Joe Flacco, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions to Cleveland. Someone explained this like I'm 5. Another summed it up even more painfully. "We watched this same movie for 25 years. Vets lose games while young talent rots. When does the madness end?" Every headline, every segment, every viral tweet fed into the same narrative. The Browns aren't just failing, they're refusing to succeed. And that storyline, amplified by every sports network in America, was about to reach all the way up to the owner's box. If fans were furious and the media was relentless, insiders say nobody was angrier than the man who owns the franchise. Jimmy Haslam, sitting high in the press box that night, didn't wait for the game to end before his frustration boiled over. Reports say by the third quarter, he was already pacing, red-faced, demanding to know why the rookie quarterback he'd invested a draft pick in hadn't taken a single snap. By the fourth quarter, he was gone, storming out in what witnesses described as a fury that echoed all the way down to the locker room. This wasn't just about losing to Detroit. Owners know bad games happen. This was about logic, or the lack of it. According to multiple insiders, Haslam confronted front office personnel after the game with one blunt, unavoidable question. Why draft Shedeur Sanders if you're going to let him rot on the bench? It wasn't a polite suggestion. It was a demand, a line in the sand. And it didn't come out of nowhere. Sources close to the team reveal Haslam's frustration has been building all season. He's poured hundreds of millions into this franchise, watched it struggle through decades of false starts and quarterback failures, and believed this rookie could finally be the turning point. Instead, he's forced to watch a 40-year-old veteran collapse on national TV while the future wastes away on the sideline. One insider put it bluntly, Jimmy didn't spend all this money to watch a 40-year-old lose games. He wants to see what this kid can do. That kind of talk isn't just speculation. It's a warning siren for the head coach. Because when ownership stops questioning results and starts questioning your decisions, the clock on your job starts ticking louder. And here's the part that makes this dangerous for Kevin Stefanski. Haslam's frustration isn't just emotional. It's strategic. He sees the fan base turning, he sees the media roasting his franchise, and he knows the league is watching. If the Browns keep sliding, it won't just be Flacco who gets benched. It'll be Stefanski's entire regime. Behind closed doors, the atmosphere in the Browns locker room is no longer just frustration. It's fracture. Players aren't blind. They see the same stats, the same wasted drives, and the same rookie quarterback glued to the bench while losses pile up. And while the coaching staff continues to preach veteran stability, the roster is running out of patience. Offensive linemen, usually the most diplomatic voices on any team, have started to grumble. Protecting quarterbacks who can't move the ball is a thankless job. And word leaked that one lineman was overheard saying, "We're getting our heads knocked off blocking for guys who can't even get us into the end zone. Something has to change." That sentiment has spread. When the people tasked with protecting the quarterback lose faith in him, it's not just a problem. It's a crisis. On the defensive side, the mood is no better. This defense has carried Cleveland all season, holding opponents to just 17 points per game, an elite level in today's NFL. But what good is shutting down offenses if your own quarterback gifts turnovers back on a silver platter? One defensive captain reportedly told teammates off the record, "We're doing our job. We're keeping points off the board, but we can't score touchdowns for the offense too." Those cracks, offense versus defense, veterans versus youth, patience versus urgency, are exactly what tears teams apart. And fueling every conversation, every whisper in that locker room is one name: Shedeur Sanders. Teammates see him in practice every day. They've watched the sharp reads. The quick release, the accuracy, threading passes into tight windows. They've seen the calm he showed in preseason, completing 12 of 19 for 129 yards and a touchdown, posting a QB rating over 100. One anonymous player summed it up simply: he throws the ball better than anyone else in that room. He's not scared of big moments. We all see it. The truth inside the Browns facility is unavoidable. The roster knows the rookie can play. And every snap he doesn't take deepens the divide between a locker room that wants to win now and a coaching staff clinging to a failing plan. For all the frustration boiling in Cleveland, there's one reason hope refuses to die: Shedeur Sanders. His resume doesn't read like a rookie project. It reads like a proven playmaker waiting for his chance. At Colorado, he put up numbers that would turn heads in any league. Over 4,100 passing yards, 37 touchdowns, just 10 interceptions, and a jaw-dropping 74% completion rate, all while playing behind one of the worst offensive lines in college football. He wasn't just surviving, he was elevating a broken system, turning a lifeless program into a team that fought for respect every single Saturday. But college success doesn't always translate to the pros, right? That's the excuse some cling to. The problem is, Sanders already answered that question in the preseason. In limited snaps with Cleveland, he looked calm, efficient, and accurate. He finished with a quarterback rating over 100, completing 12 of 19 passes for 129 yards and a touchdown. That's not potential, that's production. And it wasn't just the stats, it was how he carried himself. Teammates praised his timing, his quick decision-making, and the quiet confidence that made him look more like a leader than a rookie. Veterans noticed. Offensive linemen said he looked like he belonged. Receivers said his throws hit them in stride. One even admitted off the record, he looked better in preseason than some of our vets do in real games. That's why this debate isn't just about numbers. It's about belief. The fans believe in him. The locker room believes in him. And even ownership, furious with the current direction, is pushing to see what the kid can do. The only people still resisting? The coaching staff. Every wasted snap with Joe Flacco is another chance Shedeur doesn't get. Another opportunity delayed. And in a city that's waited decades for a real franchise quarterback, patience is running thin. Sanders isn't a long-term maybe. He's the best option Cleveland has right now. If Browns fans sound bitter, it's because they've lived this nightmare before, over and over again. Since the franchise returned to the NFL in 1999, Cleveland has started 32 different quarterbacks, 32 false hopes, 32 reminders that the most important position in football has been a revolving door of failure. The names read like a tragic roll call. Tim Couch, the first great hope of the new era. Brady Quinn, hyped as the savior. Johnny Manziel, the money man, who was supposed to bring swagger, but never delivered. Baker Mayfield, who teased stability, but left the franchise fractured and divided. Deshaun Watson, brought in with a record-shattering contract, only to sink into off-field chaos and on-field inconsistency. Each one was supposed to end the curse. Each one became another chapter in the same painful story. Cleveland doesn't just lose games. They lose quarterbacks to mismanagement, impatience, or bad decisions. And now, with Shedeur Sanders, a rookie carrying elite college production, the respect of his teammates, and the backing of a furious fan base, the Browns are somehow repeating the cycle again. Instead of developing the future, they're clinging to the past, in the form of a 40-year-old Joe Flacco. The irony cuts deep. For decades, fans have begged for a quarterback who could inspire belief, someone who could elevate the team instead of dragging it down. And now that player might finally be here. But the franchise seems determined to bury him on the bench. Former Browns legend Bernie Kosar said it best. You have to let young quarterbacks succeed and fail. Sitting on the bench doesn't make anyone better. Those words ring louder now than ever, because if history has taught Browns fans anything, it's that wasted time equals wasted talent. And unless something changes, Shedeur Sanders risks becoming just the latest name on Cleveland's long, miserable list of what could have been. As if the pressure inside Cleveland wasn't already boiling, one voice made the fire impossible to contain. Deion Sanders. He's not just Shedeur's father. He's primetime. A Hall of Famer. A college coach. A cultural icon whose words echo across the football world. And when he speaks about his son, people listen. On a recent podcast, Deion didn't mince words. He told fans to be patient, be ready. His time is coming this year. And when it happens, everybody's going to know. That wasn't just a father defending his son. That was a legend making a prediction. And overnight, those words became gasoline on a fire already raging in Cleveland. Clips of the interview spread everywhere. ESPN debate shows ran with it. NFL Network dissected every line. Twitter turned it into a rallying cry. Suddenly, Shedeur's benching wasn't just a local controversy. It was a national storyline. Every panel, every highlight show, every podcast echoed the same question. Why are the Browns sitting the one quarterback with a future? And here's what terrifies Kevin Stefanski. When a personality like Deion speaks, the narrative doesn't stay local. It goes global. What started as Cleveland fans chanting in the stands became a talking point for the entire NFL. From Stephen A. Smith hammering the decision as coaching scared, to Rich Eisen bluntly asking, "At what point do you admit the plan isn't working?" The national media had made its verdict clear. Keeping Sanders on the bench wasn't just questionable. It was reckless. Deion's influence ensured this wasn't just about wins and losses. It became about credibility. The Browns weren't just ignoring their fans or frustrating their locker room. They were ignoring the voice of one of football's most respected figures, a man whose reach stretches from college recruits to Hall of Fame voters. And once the narrative shifted from Browns lose again to Browns are wasting Shedeur Sanders, It wasn't just Cleveland under the microscope. It was Kevin Stefanski's entire career. By now, it's clear. The quarterback controversy in Cleveland isn't just about football. It's about power. Inside the Browns building, the tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Meetings are heated. Communication between coaches and front office staff is strained, and sources say trust is slipping away fast. On one side, you have Kevin Stefanski and parts of his coaching staff. They're clinging to the word stability, pointing to Joe Flacco's experience as a reason to keep him on the field. They argue that rookies take time, that mistakes could spiral, that throwing Sanders into the fire too soon risks breaking him. It's the conservative mindset. Protect the system. Protect the staff. Avoid risk at all costs. On the other side, you have ownership and key front office voices. These are the people who push to draft Shedeur, who see him every day in practice, and who can't believe he's being sidelined while the team spirals. For them, the word stability has become a punchline. Stability doesn't look like 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Stability doesn't look like fans revolting and media roasting the franchise. And stability certainly doesn't look like a 40-year-old quarterback who can't outrun pressure or push the ball downfield. This divide isn't theoretical, it's personal. Executives who want Sanders see their investment wasting away. Coaches who resist change feel their jobs on the line if the rookie struggles. Each side believes they're fighting for the future, but the war is tearing the present apart. And caught in the middle, the players. They see the same fracture. Veterans are being asked to sacrifice wins for a philosophy that makes no sense. Young guys are wondering why the future is being delayed when it's sitting right in front of them. Every day Shedeur Sanders sits, the cracks inside the Browns organization grow wider. And everyone knows it. This isn't just a quarterback decision anymore. It's a power struggle that could decide the future of the entire franchise. After the Detroit collapse, everyone expected Kevin Stefanski to show urgency, maybe admit mistakes, maybe even hint at a change. Instead, when he stepped up to the podium, he gave the same tired line he's repeated all season. Joe gives us the best chance to win right now. But here's the problem. Nobody believes that anymore. Not the fans, not the media, not even some of the players in his own locker room. Because the numbers don't lie, and the numbers paint a brutal picture. Joe Flacco has just 2 touchdowns on the season, against 4 interceptions. His quarterback rating sits in the mid-60s, near the bottom of the league. He's completed only 61% of his passes, averaging barely 5 yards per attempt. And with him under center, the Browns offense has managed to score more than 13 points in a game only once. That's not the best chance to win. That's an anchor dragging the entire team down. Now compare that with Shedeur Sanders. At Colorado, he threw for over 4,100 yards, 37 touchdowns, and just 10 interceptions. He completed 74% of his passes, a number most NFL veterans would kill for. In the preseason with Cleveland, he looked sharp and composed, posting a quarterback rating over 100. His teammates praised his timing and confidence. The evidence isn't theoretical. It's already there. So when Stefanski insists that Flacco is the answer, it doesn't sound like leadership. It sounds like denial. And denial is poison in the NFL. It erodes credibility. It divides locker rooms. It alienates fan bases. Worse, denial buys time for no one. The defense knows they're wasting elite performances. The offense knows their drives are doomed before they start. And ownership knows the team is bleeding both wins and goodwill. every time Stefanski repeats his line, the cracks in trust get deeper. The truth is unavoidable. The Browns don't just have a quarterback problem. They have a leadership problem. And unless that changes, denial will finish what the Lions started, tearing this team apart from the inside. At this point, it's bigger than football. The Browns aren't just losing games, they're losing credibility. To fans, to the media, even to their own players. Every bad snap Joe Flacco takes isn't just another failed drive. It's another reminder that the franchise refuses to face reality. And in the NFL, nothing destroys a team faster than when belief dies. For the fans, belief has already shattered. This isn't a crowd quietly waiting for brighter days. These are people who've lived through decades of disappointment, who've watched 32 quarterbacks cycle through the franchise since 1999, and who are done waiting for next year. They see a rookie with talent, poise, and production sitting idle while another season burns away. And they've made their feelings clear. In chants, in hashtags, in packed comment sections online. For the players, belief is slipping too. The defense can only shoulder the load for so long before resentment turns into division. The offense knows they're walking into games with one hand tied behind their back, and whispers about Sanders' ability aren't whispers anymore. They're open conversations. When a locker room starts questioning the plan, it's only a matter of time before fractures become collapses. And for ownership, patience is gone. Jimmy Haslam didn't invest hundreds of millions just to watch history repeat itself. He's not watching the scoreboard anymore. He's watching his investment rot. His fury isn't just emotional, it's financial. He knows that in today's NFL, credibility isn't just a luxury, it's currency. And right now, the Browns are bankrupt. The bigger picture is this. Cleveland doesn't just face a quarterback decision. They face a crossroads. One road leads to more denial, more wasted seasons, and another name on the cursed list of failed Browns quarterbacks. The other road means risking the future by actually playing it. 0. The question isn't whether Shedeur Sanders is ready. The question is whether the Browns have the courage to finally break the cycle before it breaks them. So here we are, another season in Cleveland, another quarterback controversy. But this time, it feels different. This isn't just about bad luck or poor execution. This is about choice. The Browns have a choice staring them in the face. A veteran whose best days are a decade behind him, or a rookie who represents hope, talent, and a future the city is desperate for. And yet, week after week, they choose denial. They choose to stick with a plan that everyone can see is broken. Fans see it, players see it, ownership sees it. The entire NFL world sees it. The only ones refusing to admit it are the men wearing the headsets. But football has a way of forcing the truth into the open. Denial doesn't last forever. Locker rooms don't stay patient. Owners don't stay quiet. Fans don't stay loyal when they feel ignored. And right now, all three groups are pushing in the same direction. They want Shedeur Sanders. They want the future now. The question is simple. How much longer can Kevin Stefanski fight a war he's already lost? Every interception by Joe Flacco, every wasted possession, every lifeless press conference pushes the Browns closer to a breaking point. When that point comes, it won't just be a quarterback switch. It will be a franchise-wide reckoning. Because Cleveland isn't just playing for wins and losses anymore. They're playing for credibility, for trust, for the chance to finally prove they can break a curse that's haunted them for decades. And right now, the answer is sitting on the bench, helmet in hand, watching his team crumble without him. The clock is ticking. The chants are growing louder. The headlines are harsher. And the decision that could define the future of the Cleveland Browns is no longer about strategy. It's about survival. So the only question left is this: will the Browns finally unleash the quarterback who could change everything? Or will they bury another talent in the graveyard of what could have been? The world is watching, and Cleveland is running out of time.